This is Life with Psychic Suzanna on 1110 KFAB. Helping you find emotional, spiritual, and physical balance. What does your future hold? It's time to find out with Psychic Suzanna.
Hi, this is Life with Psychic Suzanna on 1110 KFAB. Thank you for stopping by. This is a place where we ask the questions. We ask the questions to help you find out more about each other. And I think as we understand each other, we learn to understand ourselves a little bit more. You know, it's where we stand in the world that is important. It's what we think that is important. It's important that we learn how to communicate our thoughts a little bit better. And it's important that we investigate things a little bit better. That's what we hope to do on this show. We hope to take a look into to everybody and find out what makes them tick, where their beginning and where their end is. What is it that they want others to know about them? Tonight's show has got some pretty interesting people on it. As a matter of fact, they're the men of KFAB. Our first one today is the Big Kahuna. He walks around here. He reminds me of Dick Tracy. He's sort of the quiet, gentle kind who's always looking, always seeing whether we think he is or not. But I thought we should get him in here so you could find out a little bit about Gary Sadlemyer's soul. Welcome, Gary. Thank you.
Hi, Susanna. Thank you.
Thank you for having
soul.
me. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we want to get to a little bit. You know, you're on the morning. What's
am.
your time is again?
5:30 to 9, Monday through Friday.
Every morning you're on the air.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think people really get to know who Gary Sadlemyer is. So let's start it off this way.
You don't think after 30 years I got a pretty good idea?
Well, you know, we have listeners every other minute.
Yeah,
New
that's
listeners
true.
every day. New listeners. Yep. So do they know example? What kind of books do you like to read? Do you read?
I read voraciously.
Voraciously?
Yes. Yeah, and I'm always frustrated because there's never enough time.
Uh-huh.
Books specifically, I love biographies, history, novels that have to do with the genre now that I really love is, I don't know if you'd call it espionage, but anti-terrorism,
Wow. Mm-hmm.
international intrigue, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You ever read Vince Flynn?
No.
He's great.
Really, Vince Flynn? And is that what you're reading right now?
I'm reading one of his right now, yeah.
So are you one of those who likes to watch the show with the guy who runs...
24 is the only... well, no, it's one of two network shows.
Yeah?
Other than news shows that I actually watch.
24.
Yeah.
I tried to watch that the first show. He cut off somebody's finger, and I just, I went away
That's
from
a
it.
beauty.
So there's a...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a little bit of side of you I hadn't known, because I think of you as a very peaceful man as you walk around these studios.
Well, I think I am, yeah.
Yeah. So you like 24.
I love 24.
Wow.
And this is going to be the last season, by the way.
No.
That's what I'm told, yeah.
Oh, that's just not right.
I know.
That's just
now
not
what
right.
am I going to do?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, they don't make cowboy shows anymore.
Well,
I loved westerns. And
the Cowboys channel, though, is on full time. You
I'll
do
have to
know
find
that.
it. I'll have to find it.
Yeah, 24/7.
Yeah.
You can. I watched John Wayne the other night. There's nothing wrong with
He's
John
the
Wayne.
best.
I'm thinking he was very good, very good. Yeah. So you like to read suspenseful novels and things. Do you? How do you play? What's your favorite way to play?
Golf.
Golf.
We're about at the end of that now for another season.
Do you like indoor golf?
Nah, not really.
Do you like putt-putt?
It's okay.
Okay.
Go out with the family once in a while and do that. Sure.
But you're a golfer. I gotta
well,
say
I don't know if I'm saying I'm a golfer, but I love to play.
Do you?
Yeah.
Why do you like to play golf?
I don't know. It's just, what's not to love about a golf course? It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Surroundings are beautiful. You're outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fun with friends, and it's a maddening game, and you're always trying to see if you can, master it. Wouldn't be the word in my case, but get a little
master
better now.
Master is a hefty
word. It's just a lot of fun. I don't know. I'm not a very complicated guy. I don't know why I like it. I just like it.
I must tell you that at in my home, my husband is a huge golfer, and in my home, there is a sign that faces right across from the TV, and it says, golf is played on a 5.5-inch course, the space between your ears.
Exactly right.
Yeah, and you look at that golf ball, and it's right by the hole, and you think, 5.5-inch course between the ears. I think golf, I like golf, is because it's the challenge. The challenge of you're aiming for something you can't see. Mm-hmm. And in life, I think we're always aiming for something. We really don't know what it is.
Yeah. Well, the appeal of individual sports like golf and bowling, for example, to me, is that you're challenging yourself. You're basically playing against the golf course or the lane conditions or whatever it is. And I love competitive team sports too. I played when I was a kid, but I don't know, golf has it all. Well, football, basketball, and baseball when I was in high school.
You played football.
Mm-hmm. And a little bit of football in
You're
college.
You're just spoiling my whole thoughts.
Really? What did you think?
Very peaceful.
You think I was
guy.
a granola cruncher? What did you think?
I thought, you're like the wise man, the shaman that walks the hall. And I think of you a little bit like Dick Tracy.
Really?
Yeah.
Dick Tracy?
Dick Tracy. You remind me of Dick Tracy. I don't want
Talk
you to...
into my watch, Suzanna.
Yeah. I don't want you to wear a yellow coat, but I would call you a Dick Tracy because I think you're always seeing things, and you may not tell us what you're seeing until you're darn well ready to tell us.
Well, that might be true.
What you're saying. Yeah, I think you're a little sneaky.
Sneaky?
I'm going to say, lad.
This show is brutal.
You wouldn't want to tell Dick Tracy. Dick Tracy would want everybody to know about his watch, just those selective few and everything.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So you ran out for sports, and right now you're a golfer.
No,
that's
I'm not a golfer. Cool. I play when I can. It's like anybody, if you can get out on a weekend once in a while.
That's cool.
Oh, there goes my cell phone. I should probably turn that off. Of course, you knew that was going to go off.
And you're probably, this is who you are.
Yes. It's ringing all the time.
Does it light up?
Yeah, sure.
Can it be a flashlight too, Dick Tracy, in case you need it?
No. Actually, I need to put this on vibrate. So it doesn't go off while we're on the air here.
Well, but that's the kind of man you are. You're a man in demand. And
well, if I'd have thought of it before we went on, it would have been better. But
well, it's okay. It's okay. Life is all about the little things that happen, and life is what happens when you're not expecting it to.
Indeed.
If there was anything you could say about your past, what would you say? Let's hold on to this. You look a lot like your mother, don't you? I would say so.
Yeah, I guess.
I would say you look more like your mother. What would you say was the lesson from your mother that you've gotten as you were growing up?
Be considerate.
Really?
Yeah. As I grew into adulthood, I look back. There's the old joke that your parents got a lot smarter the older you get. Mm-hmm. But they each told me, several things like all parents do. But I finally realized that each of them told me one thing that was useful, and I never forgot it. She was very big on be considerate. Mm-hmm. And I just think that's important in life,
Mm-hmm. And where did you grow up?
In Minnesota, rural Minnesota. I grew up on a farm.
You grew up on a farm. Yep. So did you milk cows? Or
yep.
Yep. So you're a man with handy hands. We'll be right back and find more about Gary Sadlemyer on Life with Psychic Suzanna at 1110 KFAB.
Life with Psychic Suzanna on 1110 KFAB.
You're back with Life with Psychic Suzanna on 1110 KFAB. And yes, in my studio at this moment, I have Gary Sadlemyer. Thank you for stopping
Suzanna.
by, Gary.
My pleasure.
All right, now we told your mother, you grew up on a farm in Minnesota. Your mother taught you to be considerate. What would you think the lesson your father taught you?
Well, the one thing that he used to say all the time that, and I would try to argue with him,
No.
Well, I would say with Dad, but what about? But he would say, never trust anybody if there's a nickel involved. And as I grew into adulthood, I found out exactly what he meant by that. And I used to say, yeah, but what if? He said, no. If you find out that after the fact that somebody is trustworthy, and there are a lot of people who are, that's great. But don't ever assume it. And it just stuck with me. He was
interesting.
He was a businessman, and
What kind of business out of
He had a trucking business. It's still in the family back home. But he came up, as parents of my generation did during the Depression. Was minimally educated, but was very smart in his way, and built that business. And I learned some, just from, not always from what he said, but watching him. I learned a lot.
And what did you learn from watching him?
Oh, he was just straightforward. He was straightforward and a very hard worker.
And you knew where he was coming from?
Oh, yeah.
All the time?
Oh, boy.
Did you?
Did you ever? Yeah.
Oh, cool. So he was I think sometimes we forget that we have to have rules. And
Right.
back then we had more rules. I like the rules. That's very important.
Indeed.
What do you think your life purpose is? Do you have a life purpose? Have you thought of that question?
No.
Okay, good. Let's try it.
No, I don't. I mean, I think an unexamined life is a tragedy, but I don't spend a lot of time trying to answer the big existential questions because I think that's a very personal journey, and I have my own thoughts about it. But what is in other words, were we all put here for a purpose?
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't know.
I'm sure
I don't
we
know
are.
that we were.
And
So, no, I don't agonize over that, to be honest with you.
Do you think about what you want people to say once you're not here anymore? What you would like to have said on your obituary?
I haven't thought about that. I suppose everybody does once in a while. I haven't thought about it in a long time.
Life is so temporary.
Yeah.
I try to live each day as though it's my last and try to be the best I can be in the moment.
I had a day the other day that I thought actually was. No, I'm kidding. No, what I would like them to say after the fact is that he was honest, straightforward, and kind.
Marvelous.
That he dealt with people in an honest way, had fun. I think life without fun is a waste. And you have to find balance, and that's what I'm trying to do. I would think everybody is trying to find that balance.
If you were to have a magic wand,
Yes.
and you could make the world different, or the city different. Let's start with the city, smaller. If we could do anything, what would you want to give your brothers and sisters? What would you want them to know and do in their life? Is there something you think is an important lesson that everyone should know?
But are you talking about the city or my family?
Both.
I'm not sure.
Let's go both. Who isn't affected by what we know? Everybody who comes up to us on our street, everyone we touch, is our family. But what would you tell someone to look for or to be aware of in their life?
I don't know. You're asking very, very large questions.
I do.
And I'm not big on advising other people. I'm really not,
And I think... Well,
I don't mean to be difficult, but...
I think you're the kind that acts what you believe. I think you're the man who acts what he believes, which is wonderful. Most of us don't walk our own talk.
I struggle to, but we all fail at that, I think, to an extent.
I think I think you do it a lot better than you think you do.
Well, thank you.
I'm not giving you a compliment. I really believe that. But I think we all try to walk our own talk, and a lot of us don't.
Right.
And I find that really... What lesson would you want your children to learn that's real important for you? What lesson would you want each citizen to know in the country?
Well, for my kids, it's don't forget who you are. Their mother and I, hopefully... See, I believe this about kids. We worry about the sexualization of the society and how crude it is, the fraying of the social fabric. And I worry about that, too. But you know what? The cat's out of the bag, and it isn't going back in the bag. And I believe that over the course of 17 or 18 years while a kid is being raised, hopefully with both parents, that's their model for what life is supposed to be like. That's how you're supposed to behave. They're watching mom and dad from the time they're born. That's where they get it. And because unless you say, okay, we're going to have a compound here around our house, I'm going to homeschool them. They're never going anyplace without me or their mother. And I'm never going to subscribe to a magazine. We're not going to have the television in the house. We're not going to have the internet in the
You
house.
bet.
Unless you do that, they're going to see all this junk. So what do they see from mom and dad? What are their parents modeling? And so I hope that my children have grown up knowing that this is what we believe about how you ought to conduct your life, and that as you go out on your own, and 3 of my 4 are, that you won't forget who you are and where you came from.
Marvelous.
Now, for everybody else, I wouldn't even pretend to.
You wouldn't?
No.
You wouldn't. And you wouldn't. That is really important. I think a lot of times we forget as parents the power we have. But I also think that as in your position here, that being the big kahuna, I think in your position here, you're all the people in this who work under you think of you as a father figure.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Makes me sound old, Susanna.
Well, it's not old, it's wise. You know, I love age. I love getting older. The older we are, the better we are. We can do the same things and just not be caught. You know?
Well, it is true. I mean, I suppose it's true. We have a lot of folks here who are just great, bright people. They're in their 20s and 30s, so I suppose to them, you know.
And what do you want to tell them? What do you want to tell people? What would you want? What was the big thing you would want them to be? Like mine, if I can go, is find peace. Find the peace within you and be at peace.
Right.
What would you want? I took the big one. So
be to work on time, be dependable.
Oh.
Take pride in what you do and what we all do here.
Marvelous.
But I think that's good for anybody in whatever endeavor it is. Take pride in what you do.
Marvelous.
I really do. I mean, look, my dad, there's another thing that he used to say. He wasn't the first. He wasn't original with him. He said, suppose that what you do, whatever your work is, suppose you had to put your name on it. Keep that in mind.
Wonderful.
You know, we all fail from time to time, but do your best and take pride in it. Be dependable. Okay. Those aren't bad lights to run by.
Not bad lights at all.
Now, that doesn't answer the big life question.
I think that does answer
asked,
the big questions. I really do. Yeah. I think the big questions are actually little questions just needing to be
Maybe
learned.
So.
Yeah. I think sometimes we get worried about the questions, but the questions aren't really important. It's the answers. Thank you for stopping by.
A pleasure. Congratulations on your new show on 1110 KFAB.
And thank you for having the courage to give a psychic a show on 1110 KFAB. This is a big tent we're under.
Well, it's great. And the time of day that you're on, you're covering a lot of territory, 20-some states.
I know that, yeah.
So try not to screw it up. No, I'm kidding. You're
KFAB
doing a great job.
is a big foot, a big foot.
It is.
All right, thank you very much. God bless.
This is Life with Psychic Suzanna on 1110 KFAB.
Welcome back to Life with Suzanna on 1110 KFAB. Today I have sitting with me someone you've heard about and heard often on radio. It's Roger Olson. Hello, Roger.
Hi,
thank you for being with us.
Susanna, that's a pleasure to be here. Welcome to KFAB.
Thank you. Roger, how long have you been at KFAB?
I've been at KFAB for 8.5 years, and but in radio in Omaha for 25.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, one of the questions I want to know is, when you're picking out your life story, was your life story to be on radio? Is that what you wanted? And why would you want this job?
You know what? As a kid, I was fascinated by the radio. It was at the end of an era that unfortunately, everything has life cycles. I mean, things change.
All the time.
Obviously, there are people who grew up when radio was it for entertainment. There was no television. So you had shows basically that became television shows that were strictly radio shows, and big orchestras and singers and all types of entertainment for them, and it was all about the radio. Well, by the time I was growing up, it was, rock and roll, top 40, but still a lot of personality. And, your local DJ, there was a certain mystique about who they were, and I grew up in Omaha, so, a lot of the names of people of the era, Dave Wingard, who's at KGOR now, he came to Omaha when I was in, I think, junior high.
Wow.
Jimmy O'Neill, even, Gary Sadlemyer, Don Cole, Lyle Bremser. There's so many, Frank Coffeehead Allen. I mean, there's so many names from the past. that I just thought it'd be a real cool thing. And then I heard that, well, the money's not that great, and I thought, well, maybe I should go to college, get a degree, do something practical. I got a business degree, went into the mortgage business. But one thing led to another. I was working part-time in radio, and just by, happenstance and chance, I got a radio job full-time, and I've never, thank God, ever been fired. I've never, been dismissed because of, finances or something like that. I always found a way to do something different within the business, and I've just turned it into a career. So, yes, a little bit intentional, but a lot of luck. I mean, I just had a lot of luck.
One of the things we talk about on the show that we'll be talking about is how everything is in divine order, and it's all part of your life drama. And before we choose life, we choose our careers. So as we look at you as being a radio show personality, what would you say your core is, or your core purpose on being on radio is? What do you think God has placed you here? Because so many other people want your job.
Well,
you do know that.
I'm sure that there are some, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, that's one thing I've always thought was most important wasn't how much money you make, but how much you enjoy the job. And there's a radio host that was on KFAB for years, syndicated, Bruce Williams, who oftentimes would say, if a guy hates his job, you can pay him $1 million a year, and he's still going to hate his job. Whereas, so it was. I was never driven as much by money as some people are. Some people are about money. I like to make a living. I like money, but I'm also not going to, knock another guy over to get the last dime, and I'm not going to do something I don't enjoy doing, even if it would pay me better.
Okay, and while we're talking about this and not knocking over someone for the last dime, what would you say if we were just talking to Roger and we didn't know who Roger is? And a lot of people haven't heard you for a lot, but you're on every morning.
Right.
But tell us what you believe, Roger, is your life purpose.
Oh, I knew that the tough questions were coming. I don't think I have that answer yet, and actually it's something that I've thought about.
I know you have.
What's my life purpose? I guess from a very basic standpoint, I haven't done anything, nor do I have anything planned that's going to maybe change someone's life in an obvious way. But I hope that through radio, or just through trying to be a good person, a good citizen, to be on the team for where I am, wherever I am, to be on that team and be pulling for those people.
The greater good? Possibly?
For the greater good, then I guess I feel like I've accomplished something just in what one guy can do to achieve that ultimate end in a positive way. I really try, as part of my purpose, I try not to bring negativity into other people's life. I try to bring positivity. I would prefer people smile when they see me. And I think I do a pretty good job of achieving that. But I don't think that I've made any grand achievement. And but sometimes I think people make their grandest achievements just because circumstances present themselves and they're able to perform at their highest and perform at their best, and they do something grand without even thinking about it.
Well, I go by the thought that everything we do that affects another person is grand. And you have the power behind the mic, and you do empower people behind the mic, even if it's from saving them from having an accident.
That's true.
Everything in the morning, you start their day, and giving them a smile in the morning, I think is just dynamite.
And that's true. I mean, that's true. With severe weather, that's a very important part of KFAB's mission, and I am typically the anchor of that. And I know that there could be information that I have that by giving it to people when they need it could save them not only physical injury, but property damage, or just make them a little bit safer. And if nothing else, give them peace of mind.
That's right.
Because we have a lot of listeners that they are dependent, especially if the power goes out, on the battery-powered radio. That's their link to the whole world.
Yes.
And so we can do grand things. And occasionally there are causes that come up in the community people who are in need that nobody would know about if we didn't tell them about it, and we can help somebody, be it with a disease or they've hit upon a bad patch, and we can do something to help get them back on their feet, then there is definitely a sense of satisfaction that you've achieved some purpose. And we're able to do that, all of us here.
Thank you, Roger, for being with us today and answering some of these questions. Keep on your toes. We'll be asking you more. This is Life with Psychic Suzanna on 1110 KFAB.
Life with Psychic Suzanna on 1110 KFAB.
And look who we have back. We have Roger Olson from the morning show. We have more for him. And Roger, is there a person or is there a street? I think inspiration happens every moment of every day. Sometimes you can be at a street sign and see a billboard that has said something to you, that says, yeah, I get it now.
Yeah.
Or you'll see something on a road you've not seen for a while. Is there anybody who's physically alive that inspires you?
Well, Suzanne, I really wish I could give you a single person.
Give me three or four.
I can't name a name specifically. I can tell you that I'm inspired by just the acts that I see in the news of people who have done selfless things and have put themselves maybe in harm's way, or have given their whole lives over to something that's like that's helped people, or even animals, because they're God's creatures too, that have helped make their life better. I'm inspired by those people. Many times, as I said, common people doing uncommon things. Those people inspire me. Cool. So it's not one person, it's a group of people, and I'm inspired in that manner. Maybe not every day, but every week.
Yeah, that's perfect, because I do believe our life is inspiration and daily. Is there a song that you hear that? Come on. Go really weird on me here, honey. Give me a song. Is there a song you hear that the words hit you?
Well, there's some religious songs that do. Mm-hmm. There's some, it's secular and non-secular songs that will inspire me. I wish, it can be something. So I was listening. I heard Louis Armstrong's "What a Wonderful World" a couple of days ago.
Wow,
I love that song. That's a beautiful song, because it's just a simple 2-minute and 20-second song of just a guy who is just looking around at just the simple things of life that all together, from a little baby to just people saying hi to each other, that inspire him to look around and say, "What a wonderful world!" And it's a beautiful song. I guess just off the top of my head,
that's perfect.
That's a song that I could say inspires me, because it's just such a simple but heart-filling message.
Wonderful. That's exactly what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I think everyone's spiritual. I just don't think, I don't think it's in a book. I think it's how we live our life.
I definitely agree with that.
I believe how we live our life is where our spiritual thing. And
right.
There is a saying that who you are is how you act when nobody's looking.
Yeah, I've heard that. And it's very good. It's very good.
That's important. So I have just 2 more questions for you, and then you're off the hot seat, Roger.
Okay.
Okay. The next question would be: is there anything, if you had a magic wand, that you could change about Omaha, that you would change?
Change about Omaha.
If you could settle one problem.
Yeah, there would be one, and it would be the violence, the violence specifically in North Omaha, because there are so many good people whose lives are being interrupted by the violence, not just the people who are victims, but, I'm just talking about the good people that are up there. And if we could just find a way that all of those good people could not be, scared and intimidated, and maybe because they're trying to fight guns and violence, and that's a very tall order for them to fight.
It is,
and
so
there needs to be.
Peace.
If there was something I'd change about Omaha, it would have to be, it would be the level of violence, especially in North Omaha and other parts of the city too. But that's a mark, against the quality of life that I think this city does a pretty good job of overall. Mm-hmm. Not perfect, but not bad. Pretty good.
Well, I think you can find good in every city and bad in every city.
I would agree.
It's just violence is a big issue, I think, in a lot of places.
I agree. I'm sure it is.
In a lot of places. Now, the last thing, and by the way, I want to ask, you're married?
Mm-hmm.
And how many children?
None.
None children?
No kids.
So, I bet that the people you come around in, you seem like a natural father figure to me.
Well, thank you. I've been told. I probably, things sometimes don't necessarily work out, but there's a grander scheme.
There is a grander scheme. I
so
sort of believe
okay.
that if you don't have biological children,
mm-hmm.
God needs you to be the father figure to other people who don't have a father.
I hope even if I don't directly have contact with kids every day, that at least when I'm out in public, I present some type of, here's a
something
guy
who's
a good guy, positive guy, and maybe has his life halfway together.
Well, when I see you through the halls, and I walk these halls,
we've known each other for years.
Yeah, I see this very quiet, peaceful man. You remind me of a little bit of a monk. Very quiet, very, very peaceful. All right, the last thing.
Yeah.
And how long have you been married, by the way? That's off the side.
15 years.
And her name is?
Dawn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. The last thing that I want to ask you is on your epitaph, your obituary.
Yeah.
What would you like them to say about Roger Olson?
I don't know. I guess I try not to think about that too much. I guess if I was to think in the end that something as simple as he was a good guy and he tried,
Marvelous.
That would probably be the first thing and the simplest thing I could think of.
Okay. Thank you for stopping by.
Well, thanks, Suzanna. It wasn't as painful as I was fearing.
Oh, cool.
Life with Psychic Suzanna on 1110 KFAB. She knew I was going to say that. If the van is talking, don't bother knocking. In fact, if your van is talking, you may want to seek professional help. This is Talktober on 1110 KFAB.
Hi, this is Life with Psychic Suzanna on 1110 KFAB. Who do I have on the air?
You have Nick.
Nick, how old are you?
I am 24.
24. Nick, are you a blonde?
No, I'm not.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm not.
What if I said you drive like a blonde?
Oh, do I?
How do you feel about that, Nick?
I don't know. I think they're pretty good drivers.
Do you text while you're driving?
No, I don't.
Good boy. Do you drink and drive?
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay, good. So you're a good driver, but I'm just going to say there seems to be a blonde driving coming up. So watch yourself. About
okay. I'll
40
watch
days.
Out for that.
It's going to cost you money. Who do you know in a white sports car?
Actually, my girlfriend.
Okay. Are you aware she's thinking a little naughty of you?
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, she's thinking a little naughty of you.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
Okay, all right, fine, that's good. How many women did you want babies by?
None.
Okay, then cover up and watch your own birth control, okay?
Okay.
There will be more than one woman who will try to settle you down by becoming pregnant.
Okay, I'll watch out for that.
You'd be darn careful about that, okay?
I'll do that.
I am also going to tell you something you write will be in print.
Yeah.
But also something you write will be in print nationally.
Okay.
Ooh.
Sounds good.
Sounds darn good. I'm also going to say there is some paperwork that is on a being misplaced on a stack of papers on the right-hand side of your desk.
Okay, I'll check for that when I get back in the office.
Okay, thank you for calling 1110 KFAB. This is Life with Psychic Suzanna.
Hello?
Hi!
Hey, what's up?
Oh, everything's up. Tell me your name and age.
Nick, and I'm 20.
Nick, and you're 20. Nick, how's your foot? It seems a little heavy to me.
It's fine, I think.
Uh-huh. Are you? Do you speed a lot?
I do.
Yeah, it's a heavy foot, baby.
Oh, okay.
You need that foot to be on a diet.
Oh, really?
Yes! Unless you want a ticket. Did you want a ticket?
No, I don't.
Did you want to crunch the car?
No.
Okay. Then we got to get that foot off the pedal.
Yep.
And, Nick, one of the things that I want you to be aware of is that you rush to get things done. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
And are you aware that you go about 70 miles per hour in a 20-mile zone?
I was unaware.
Yeah. And are you aware you go in 5 directions and only finish 2?
I did not know that.
Otherwise, you're like a bull in a china shop with no follow-through.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a lot of common sense. You just don't use it. You act too rapidly. So I'm going to want you to slow up a little bit.
That's true.
And I want you to think that before you start something, that you want to finish it.
Okay.
Okay? Now, there is going to be financial improvement. Couldn't get much worse. Financial improvement within 3 months. Okay?
Okay.
I am also going to say, woo, I love this, Florida communication. Some kind of communication with Florida that is going to be really positive, and this is within 8 months.
Oh, good deal.
Darn good deal.
Yeah.
I also, how do you feel about skiing? Do you like to snow ski, water ski?
I never have.
Well, you're going to do both.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Very neat.
There's going to be some money in your future, but right now you've got to learn to sort of watch your money a little bit much. One of the things you don't do enough is live in the moment. You live in the future or you live in the past.
Yes.
So I need you to work on breathing and being in the moment more. And your breath will bring you to that moment. Okay?
Okay.
This is Psychic Suzanna at 1110 KFAB. Join us weekly as we take a look into your future and help you to grow past your limits at this moment.
Psychic Suzanna.
Can't get through on the radio show? Call Psychic Suzanna anytime at 712-276-9349. That's 712-276-9349. Or visit her webpage, PsychicSusanna.com.